Now, I think that Britain is going through extreme poverty and destitution. And the reason I'm saying this is because I read The Guardian, I read BBC, I listen to Keir Starmer speeches, and this is the conclusion that I got, that British people are insanely poor. They can't afford their electricity bill, they can't afford the Netflix subscription. Why am I thinking this way? Well, apparently, this movie is the best. Like, this is absolutely mind-blowing, a must-see, word of mouth carries it. It's kind of like The Lord of the Rings back in the day, or The Matrix, or Harry Potter. It's literally in that level. And so, like, everyone wants to see it. But because British people are so poor, and they can't afford the Netflix subscription, it's through the grace and the wisdom of the Prime Minister Keir Starmer that he is going to have this displayed in public schools, right? Like, if you're not rich enough in Britain to afford the Netflix subscription, you can now still see the movie, but you have to vote Labour in continuity because this is the kindness and compassion that Labour is offering their people. And so I wanted to see it as well. You know, unlike Britain, I can actually afford a Netflix subscription. I actually did pay for the film. And as I was watching, I was chuckling to myself. I was like, haha, I'm richer than every other Brit. And I was absolutely horrified. Right? I was horrified because this is a documentary. Again, according to Keir Starmer. I'm not making it up. Like, the Prime Minister of Britain said that this is a documentary. And it horrified me about what's going on in Britain. And so this is a very powerful film, which also explains the rise in religiosity in Britain. Like, there's a lot of people converting to Islam. There's a lot more Muslims now than there were before. And I think it's part and parcel of this. Because I, as an atheist who watched this film, it shook me to the core, to the point where I prayed every single day afterwards. It's like, God, if you're out there, if you're real, if you're listening, thank you so much for not having me get born in Britain. Like, I appreciate it. You know, every single day now that I wake up, I appreciate the fact that I'm not in Britain, that I'm not a British citizen, because the culture displayed in this film is absolutely horrifying. Like, any Eastern European that watches this, I encourage you not to watch it as a film, but to watch it as a documentary and understand that there is such an awful place out there. There is such a horrifying island where people live under this ideology. And you gotta wonder, like, how do they do it? How do they cope with their lives, right? And so we need to have pity and compassion for them. But also we need to be grateful that we ourselves didn't happen to be born in that awful place. So the first red flag in the film, like, there's a murder, right? A kid died, and you have police officers doing an investigation. Now, in any civilized society, well, I wouldn't even say civilized, I would say in any normal society, people would collaborate with the police. Like, if there's a murderer in school, you want them caught. Like it's your self-interest, it's your self-preservation. Like, imagine you're back in school and there's a murderer in school. Like, wouldn't you collaborate with the police? Like, wouldn't you want the cops to immediately have all the information so they can catch him so more people don't die? But here, again, like, this is a documentary. I assume, like, this is how British people behave. They had nothing but disdain and disrespect towards the cops. They absolutely hated the police officers. And so you need to wonder, like, what is happening there? Like, why do the police have such awful PR that even the children hate the police officers? Like, we're not talking about elderly people or people that had, you know, previous encounters with the police and maybe, you know, some of the encounters soured. And no, like the young ones. They haven't even understand how life works and they hate the cops. And so in Britain, if that's the case, like, there can only be two explanations. Number one, the cops are corrupted and crooked, right? And they're like, you need to start firing people if that's the case. Like, you need to start firing police chiefs. You need to start firing people that are responsible for this awful PR. Or the cops are good, but you have, like, subversive NGOs that are operating against the benefit of your nation. Like, they're the ones that are spreading subversive propaganda and subversive messages. I don't know which one is it. Maybe it's a little bit of both, but, like, how can you run a nation where if there's a crime, right, we're not talking about, like, some ideological stuff, you know, someone posted some chicken little shit things on Twitter. No, like, there's an actual murder, a child died, And people don't want to collaborate with police. Like, what the fuck is going on? How can you run a country like that, right? This is a documentary. That's what the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, told me. And so that's the first thing that shocked me. The second thing that shocked me was the word incel. You know, a very weird word like incel. Like, what does it mean? You know, like English is my second language. So I didn't know what incel means. Apparently, a lot of the people from the movie didn't know either. But that's okay. You know, I did a little bit of research. And so I found out, you know, Britain has suffered greatly through a great horror. You know, like the French Revolution went through the Red Terror. Britain went through feminism, third wave feminism, where apparently they partook into this huge conspiracy theory at the national scale that Britain lives under a rape culture, that Britain is actually under the patriarchy. Like, despite the fact that they had the queen, and at the time it was Theresa May, like they had the female prime minister, they had the female queen, that they actually lived under a patriarchy, right? Where every single man, whether it was like a father, a son, or a brother, they would get together and they would conspire against their daughters and their women. I'm not kidding. It sounds batshit shit insane, but like they believed it, right? And their entire society was organized around this. And so they genuinely believe that all men are rapists, that 1 out of 5 women are getting raped, that jokes, like actual jokes and humor leads to rape. And like they organize their entire society based on that. Now what happens is that you have a backlash. Like usually when you have like an ideology like that, there will always be a backlash, right? And the backlash was people applying the same principle, right? Like individuals behave based on their gender, and the politics is strictly tied to the gender, and if one woman does something, it reflects on all women. And they gathered on various internet forums, and they took like, and just how the feminists hated men, so too these incels hated feminists, right? And they had like different talking points, but like the idea was the same. Like they were the different tribe in the gender war. Like, they weren't just people trying to live life. No, like, they were part of the gender war. And it culminated with a young Turk subscriber by the name of Elliot Rogers, that the internet dubbed as the Supreme Gentleman, who committed a mass shooting. Right? And that's when the word incel got associated with terrorism. Like, the people from the forums, it's like, okay, if we allow you to continue, you're going to create more Elliot Rogers. Now, while this is taking place, feminists realize, well, okay, look, if we keep it up, like, we're creating problems. Our ideology is for men as well, right? So part of feminism was, like, you shouldn't be shamed for your identity. Like, we should get rid of gender-based insults. You shouldn't call women bitches, but at the same time, you shouldn't call men virgins. Because you're basically judging a man by his ability to get laid. And that is demeaning. That's the patriarchy working against men. That's the patriarchy trying to make men toxic. So you shouldn't call men virgins. It's okay for men to cry. You shouldn't, insult someone based on their identity, because a person's identity is directly tied to their self-worth, to their dignity. And, they then expanded on that, and they said this is why you shouldn't do gay conversion therapy, like try to convert gay people into being straight, or to tell a gay teenager that is just a trend, or why you shouldn't question a trans person's pronouns, because like those are things directly rooted to someone's identity and self-worth. And if you take away someone's identity and self-worth, they can snap. Again, like this is part of feminist ideology, right? Like this is what they believed. But just because you tone police people, just because you force people to speak the speech, doesn't mean that you change their mind or you're actually shaping society. What they accomplished is like, okay, well, they told people you can't call men virgins anymore. So like people came up with a different insult, because the need to insult people based on gender is still there. And it's still strong, right? Like people demand that when they want to insult a stranger, there are some easy to use one-size-fits-all insults. And in the case of a man, it used to be a virgin. Okay, we can't use that anymore. What else we use? They used incel, right? So when you insult someone by calling them an incel in modern slang, it doesn't mean that they're part of those forums, part on that group of, terrorists, like the opposite version of feminism. No. What it means is that they're a virgin, right? Like they're acting like a virgin. So now that you understand this, and you look at this movie, what is it about? Well, it's about this kid, 13 years old, and he's being cyberbullied. I don't fucking care about cyberbullying, because this type of bullying could have happened offline. Like, the fact that it's on the cyberspace doesn't make it any different. It's not more mystical or magical because it happens in the cyberspace, right? The fact of the matter is that the society in which this kid is born, right? As I mentioned, a horrible society that's completely alien and different than our ways here in Eastern Europe, has a lot of rules and regulations for how you need to behave towards women. Which is normal, like we have this here as well. But unfortunately, the way women need to behave to the men doesn't exist. Like, there is no rules. They can do anything, right? And so you have, like, people, including the social service people and, you know, the classmates, calling this man an incel nonstop, day in, day out. In other words, like, the feminists who know that someone's identity is tied to their dignity, is tied to their self-worth, is tied to everything, they're constantly attacking his masculinity, nonstop. And so here's the thing, right? Does this justify how this character behaves? Absolutely not. But was this foreseen? Like, can you prevent this? If you analyze the situation, can you make sure that cases like this don't happen in the future? Absolutely. There is this thing called stochastic terrorism. Stochastic terrorism means that if you, for instance, are placed in a situation where people attack your sense of self-worth nonstop, are they going to make you snap? Are you going to kill someone? No. Me neither. Your friends probably not. But now let's assume that you do this to 1 million people. Like, you're not talking about individuals anymore, you're talking about statistics. So you have 1 million people that are constantly subjected to a removal of their sense of self-worth, of their personal identity. Is it possible that a percentage of them will snap? Absolutely. Can it be like 1%, 2%? Who knows? But it is something that will happen, right? And so society doesn't at any point call out this behavior where women are attacking this person's sense of self-worth, calling him nonstop an incel. And the funny thing is, he is 13. This is what baffled me. This is what genuinely shocked me. Like, if he is 13, why are we even expecting that he shouldn't be a virgin? Like, it's a good thing that he's a virgin. This is something normal. 13-year-olds shouldn't have sex. What happens if he has a kid at 13? Like, even if he has sex with, and who is he going to have sex with? Another 13-year-old girl? An 18-year-old woman, so that now she's a pedophile? Like, seriously, right? Like, what is wrong with this movie? What is wrong with that culture? What is wrong with those people? I understand that there's also a sequel to this movie, where you have, like, a bunch of young British girls that are harassing and sexually abusing a Muslim immigrant. Huh? That's Adolescence Part 2? Am I understanding correctly? Because I understand, like, all of this is inspired by real events, right? Like this is pretty much what's happening. It's a documentary, as Keir Starmer said. So, is that the sequel? I'm not going to watch it. It's already horrifying. Like, this one just made me wonder, what the fuck am I watching? What the fuck? Why are you allowing an entire culture to denigrate people? Is it because they're men and it's okay? Like, no one should be denigrated. Not a person should have, like, their sense of self-worth ripped off from them like that. Again, they wouldn't do this to a trans person. They wouldn't do this to a gay person. They're not doing it towards women. That's good. But why can't they extend that to men as well? Like, why is this man... Again, it's a fictional character, right? But it's the culture. Like, this is happening, right? Like it's a documentary. So I assume, like, what happened to him is now happening to other people that just aren't snapping. Am I wrong? Like, am I not understanding it correctly? Like, right now in Britain, there are, 13-year-olds that are being called incels, mocked and ridiculed and shit. But if they were to call their classmates bitches, then immediately the entire might of the law would crack down on them. Why can't you have a system that treats everyone equally? Why can't you pick and choose one of them and then apply it consistently? That's how we do it in our countries. Like, we have a set of rules for men and for women. Do you think, like, women wouldn't be able to? Like, so like, men can be able to not call women bitches, but, like, women can't be able to not call men incels? Anyway, right, like, that's my take from the movie. I was watching like a parallel society. Like none of the things make sense. Police wasn't being respected. Okay, like you're dealing with a murder. But like no one was looking. Okay, this is a 13-year-old. Like either we assume that people who are underage don't know what they're doing, and so another thing should be like 13 years old shouldn't have access to the internet. Period. But okay, fine. Like he did have access to the internet, and the idea is that okay, the internet is a bad place. But like before the internet, he could have just went with a gang. He could have just made some criminal friends, and they could have persuaded him to do crime. Like this is part of parenting, right? Like it's part of knowing who your kid associates with. Not all the time is possible. It's difficult, but like hey, no one said parenting is easy, right? And so like you need to, as a parent, figure it out. I don't know how. You need to make it work. Like shutting down the internet is, for kids, in my opinion, is a step in the right direction. But like they can go outside and they can make friends with gang members. They could join a gang or something like that. Like what are they going to do? You can't have a society filled with safetyism. And secondly, it's the whole thing. They're treating him like he was supposed to have sex, right? Like normal 13-year-olds aren't incels. Well, if they're not incels, what are they? Well, they're in relationships, right? What the fuck is with this movie? If you're British, please let me know. Like, explain it to me. Maybe I didn't watch it correctly. Maybe I didn't get something. I'm willing to hear explanations. Tell me what you think, and I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.